Okay. This training has been funded wholly or in part by a grant from the United States Department of Agriculture and Health and Human Services, Office of Community Services for Training and Technical Assistance to Small Drinking Water Systems. The contents of this presentation do not necessarily reflect the views and policies of the USDA or HHS, nor does the USDA or HHS endorse trade names or recommend the use of any commercial products that may be mentioned. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Amy Forche, and I am the Pennsylvania State Manager for RCAP Solutions. I am delighted to welcome you to our virtual regionalization workshop. I'm joined today by my esteemed colleague, Seth Lott, who is RCAP Solutions Deputy Director, Adam Burke, who's the GIS Manager for RCAP Solutions, and John Bright, who's our Pennsylvania Community Specialist for RCAP. We are here to provide you with the comprehensive strategies and practical solutions for regionalizing small water and wastewater utilities. Our team has a wealth of experience and knowledge, and we are excited to share it with you. RCAP Solutions is the Northeast region of a national network of not-for-profits called the Rural Community Assistance Program, or RCAP. We are funded by federal and sometimes state grants to provide no-cost water and wastewater technical assistance for training to small, poor, rural communities. There are 6 regional offices throughout the country with technical assistance providers in every single state and territory. Our staff have expertise in drinking water and wastewater treatment, sustainable operations and management, utility financing, and general system administration. Throughout this workshop, you will learn about the numerous benefits of regionalization, including cost savings, improved service delivery, and enhanced regulatory compliance. We will explore various models of regionalization, guide you through the steps to initiate and implement regional partnerships, and present case studies of successful regionalization efforts. We hope that this workshop will equip you with the tools and insights needed to enhance your utility operations and better serve your communities. Let's get started and make the most of our time together. Regional collaboration, also known as regionalization, involves the partnership of multiple small water and wastewater utilities within a region to work together towards common goals. These goals often include improving service quality, achieving cost efficiencies, and meeting regulatory requirements more effectively. So who are the players? Now that we have an understanding of what regional collaboration is, let's discuss the key players involved in these efforts. Effective regional collaboration relies on the cooperation and coordination of various stakeholders, each playing a crucial role. Let's take a closer look at who they are. Community-owned water, wastewater, and stormwater systems, authority-owned systems, contract operators, investor-owned utilities, municipal public works, and RCAP. So community-owned water, wastewater, and stormwater systems, these systems are typically managed by local governments or community organizations. They are responsible for providing essential water, wastewater, and stormwater services to residents. As primary service providers, community-owned systems are often the first to experience the challenges of aging infrastructure, regulatory compliance, and limited resources. Their involvement is crucial for successful regional collaboration. Authority-owned systems. These are independent public entities created to manage water, wastewater, and stormwater services for specific regions or communities. They often they operate with a certain degree of autonomy and often have their own governance structure. The importance of authority-owned systems are they can bring specialized experience and resources to the table, which make them a valuable partner in regional initiatives. Their experience in managing large-scale operations can also help streamline collaboration efforts. Contract operators. Contract operators are third-party companies or organizations that are hired to manage and operate water and wastewater systems on behalf of municipalities or authorities. These operators offer technical expertise and operational efficiency. Their involvement can enhance service delivery, and ensure compliance with regulatory standards, which makes them key players in the regional collaboration. Investor-owned utilities. These are private companies that own and operate water and wastewater systems. They operate on a for-profit basis and are regulated by state utility commissions. The importance of them, investor-owned utilities can bring a significant financial resources and operational expertise to regional collaborations. Their participation can facilitate infrastructure investment and also improve service quality goals. Municipal Public Works Departments. These departments are responsible for the maintenance and operation of municipal infrastructure, and including water, wastewater, and stormwater systems, along with roads and everything else. Public Works Departments bring on the grounds knowledge and experience in managing local infrastructure. Their involvement ensures regional collaboration efforts are practical and aligned with local needs. RCAP often assumes the role of a neutral third-party facilitator. We guide communities through the often complex steps of the regionalization process and provide them with resources and services so that they can make informed decisions about their future. Each of these players bring unique strengths and perspectives to the table. Successful regional collaboration requires their active participation and cooperation. By working together, these stakeholders can pool resources, share expertise, and overcome common challenges to achieve more efficient, reliable, and sustainable water and wastewater services for their communities. Now let's explore why regional collaboration is a crucial consideration for water and wastewater utilities. There are several compelling reasons to pursue regional partnerships, particularly when it comes to addressing compliance and operational issues, as well as tackling long-term challenges that have been overlooked. Compliance and operational issues, such as regulatory compliance. Keeping up with the increasingly stringent regulatory requirements can be a significant challenge for small utilities. Just look at the lead service line inventory. Regional collaboration enables utilities to share expertise and resources, which make it easier to meet compliance standards collectively. Also, operational efficiency. Collaborative efforts can lead to the optimization of operations. By sharing best practices, personnel, and technology, utilities can improve their service delivery and operational efficiency. This helps in maintaining consistent and high-quality services to customers. So, long-term issues and deferred maintenance. Addressing deferred maintenance. Many small utilities face the challenge of aging infrastructure. Due to budget constraints and limited resources, necessary maintenance and upgrades are often deferred, leading to deteriorating systems. Regional collaboration allows for pooling of resources, which can be directed toward addressing these long-term issues more effectively. Stagnant rates. Utilities often keep rates stagnant to avoid public backlash, but this can lead to insufficient funds for proper maintenance and upgrades. By collaborating regionally, utilities can implement more strategic and gradual rate adjustments that are easier for the community to accept, while also ensuring that necessary funds are available for system improvements. Another reason to consider regional collaboration: cost savings. So economies of scale. Working together allows utilities to achieve economies of scale. Bulk purchasing of materials and equipment, shared services, and joint training programs can significantly reduce costs. These savings can then be reinvested into the systems to further enhance their reliability and performance. Funding opportunities. Collaborative projects are often more attractive to funding agencies. Regional partnerships can also can improve access to grants and loans that might not be available to individual utilities. This additional funding can be crucial for large-scale infrastructure projects and improvements. Enhanced service delivery. Through regional collaboration, utilities can share resources such as specialized equipment and skilled personnel. This can lead to faster response times, better maintenance practices, and overall improved service delivery. Innovation and technology. Collaboration can also foster innovation. By pooling knowledge and resources, utilities can invest in new technologies and practices that they might not have been able to afford or implement independently. This can lead to more advanced and sustainable water and wastewater management solutions. The bottom line. Considering regional collaboration is not just about addressing immediate challenges, it's about creating a sustainable future for our water and wastewater systems. By working together, we can ensure that our communities have access to safe, reliable, and efficient services now and in the years to come. There's There are several other compelling reasons to consider regional partnerships, especially when it comes to solving common challenges and building resiliency. Solving common challenges. By working together, utilities can leverage bulk purchasing to secure essential supplies at more affordable rates. This collective buying power can significantly reduce costs for all participating utilities. Sharing the cost of certified operators. Certified operators are crucial for maintaining high service standards and regulatory compliance. Regional collaboration allows utilities to share the cost of these skilled professionals, ensuring that even smaller utilities can afford the expertise that is needed. Achieving and maintaining compliance. Keeping up with the regulatory requirements can be daunting, as I said earlier, and by pooling resources, we can achieve and maintain compliance, avoid costly fines, and improve service quality. Making rates more reasonable and affordable. Many low-income communities and those with small customer bases often struggle with high rates. Through regional collaboration, utilities can implement more balanced and affordable rate structures because they're dividing the costs among a larger population, which eases the financial burden on residents. Building resiliency. So, adapting to population and demographic changes. As many of our towns have lost a lot of population over the years and businesses, this is a big one. Regional collaboration helps utilities adapt to changing population and demographic trends. By planning and acting together, they can better manage growth or decline, ensuring sustainable service delivery. Also, responding to natural disasters and climate impacts. Natural disasters and climate-related emergencies are increasingly common. A regional approach enhances resiliency, enabling utilities to respond more effectively and recover more quickly from such events. Preparedness for unpredicted changes and emergencies. Collaboration ensures that utilities are better prepared for unforeseen challenges. Whether it's a sudden infrastructure failure or an unexpected regulatory change, having a network of support can make all the difference. And we're going to talk a little bit later about PA WERN, which is a PA network that helps with emergencies. So creating a culture of collaboration. We're going to Regional collaboration creates a culture of collaboration. So moving from competition to collaboration. Traditionally, utilities might compete for resources and funding. Regional collaboration fosters a culture of mutual support where utilities can lean on one another for help and advice. It's also better outcomes for all. When utilities work together, they can achieve better outcomes for everyone involved. Shared successes, resources, and knowledge lead to more efficient operations and improved service delivery for all communities. The bottom line, regional collaboration is about more than just addressing immediate challenges. It's about creating a resilient, sustainable future for our water and wastewater systems. By working together, we can ensure that our communities have access to safe, reliable, and affordable services now and in the years to come. Now that we understand the importance of regional collaboration, let's explore the various types of cooperation that can be established to achieve our goals. Different models of cooperation can be tailored to meet the unique needs and circumstances of each utility. Here are some common examples of collaboration, of cooperation. Informal cooperation, contractual assistance, shared governance, and ownership transfer. Okay, informal partnership. As we explore different models of regional collaboration, it's important to understand the role of informal cooperation. While not as structured as formal agreements or joint ventures, informal cooperation can be effective and a flexible way for utilities to work together. So here are some examples. Equipment and resources sharing. Two neighboring utilities might agree to share expensive equipment such as water quality testing machines or maintenance tools instead of each utility purchasing its own equipment. And then they use it on a rotational basis, saving costs for both parties. It reduces cost and maximizes the use of specialized equipment without the need for formal agreements. An example of this would be maybe sharing a sewer lateral camera or doing a joint purchase of a vac truck. Also knowledge and expertise exchange. Utilities may informally exchange best practices and operational insights during industry conferences and local meetings. For instance, one utility might share its successful strategies for reducing energy consumption, while others share similar challenges. A benefit of that is it promotes learning and improvement across utilities without the need for formal partnerships. Joint training and workshops. Utilities within a region may collaboratively organize training sessions or workshops for their staff. They could invite experts to provide training on new technology or regulatory changes, which benefit all participating utilities. In the authority I used to work for, we would all go together and organize the flagger training every 3 years so that we could have a bigger class for the presenter and get all of our guys trained at once. This provides access to valuable training resources and professional development opportunities, often at a lower cost. Mutual aid for emergency response. In the event of a natural disaster or major infrastructure failure, neighboring utilities might offer support in the form of personnel, equipment such as pumps, or resources. This could involve informal agreements to assist with repairs or provide backup services. It enhances emergency response capabilities and it fosters a sense of community support among utilities. Informal agreement for cost sharing. So two utilities might agree to jointly purchase bulk supplies such as chemicals or spare parts to benefit from volume discounts. This type of agreement doesn't require formal contracts but involves a mutual understanding of shared benefits. It provides cost savings and efficiency through collaborative purchasing without the need for formal legal arrangements. Informal cooperation can be a valuable approach to regional collaboration, which offers the flexibility and cost savings while fostering relationships and knowledge sharing. These informal arrangements often serve as a stepping stone toward more structured forms of collaboration and can yield significant benefits to all participating utilities. Contractual assistance. As we continue our discussion on regional collaboration, it's important to consider how contractual assistance can play a crucial role in facilitating effective regionalization. Contractual agreements provide a formal framework for cooperation, ensuring that roles, responsibilities, and expectations are clearly defined. So here are some examples. Service management contracts. A regional water authority may contract with a private company or another utility to manage and operate specific services, such as water treatment or wastewater processing. This contract outlines the scope of services, performance standards, and compensation terms. A benefit of this, it allows utilities to leverage specialized expertise and operational efficiencies without having to build or maintain these capabilities in-house. Maintenance and repair contracts. Utilities within a region might enter into a contract or shared maintenance provider to handle routine maintenance and emergency repairs for water and wastewater systems. The contract specifies the services provided, response times, and costs. Benefit is that it provides a consistent and reliable maintenance service while distributing costs among multiple utilities, which leads to cost savings and improved service reliability. And as I said earlier, bulk purchasing agreements can be informal or they can be formal. Several utilities in a region may sign a contract with a supplier to purchase chemicals, equipment, or parts in bulk. The agreement often includes the terms for pricing, delivery schedules, and quality standards. It reduces procurement costs through economies of scale and ensures a reliable supply of necessary materials. Shared facilities agreements. Utilities may enter into a contract to share facilities, such as a regional water treatment plant or a laboratory. The contract details how the facilities will be used, maintenance responsibilities, and cost-sharing arrangements. Benefit is it maximizes the use of existing infrastructure, reduces duplication of facilities, and lowers operational costs. Regional planning and consulting services. A group of utilities might contract with a consulting firm to develop a regional water management plan or conduct a feasibility study for a regional project. The contract defines the deliverables, timelines, and payment terms. It provides access to expert analysis and recommendations that can guide regional planning and decision-making, leading to more informed and effective strategies. Emergency response and mutual aid agreements. Utilities may formalize a contract to provide mutual aid in emergencies, such as natural disasters or system failures. The agreement outlines the terms and the types of assistance provided, coordination procedures, and reimbursement terms. It enhances regional resilience by ensuring that utilities can quickly support each other during emergencies, which improves the overall response capabilities. Training and development contracts. A regional consortium of utilities may contract with a training provider to offer specialized training programs for staff. The contract specifies the training content, schedule, and costs. It ensures that utility staff receive consistent and high-quality training, improving their skills and knowledge while sharing the cost among multiple entities. Contractual assistance is essential for effective regionalization, providing a formal and structured approach to collaboration. By using contracts to manage services, share resources, and coordinate efforts, utilities can achieve greater efficiency, cost savings, and improved service delivery. Shared governance. As we discuss the concept of shared governance, it's essential to see how this approach can be applied in regionalization to enhance collaboration and decision-making. Shared governance involves distributing decision-making authority among multiple stakeholders to ensure diverse perspectives and balanced management. Here are some real-world examples. Regional water authorities. A regional water authority might be established to manage water supply and treatment for multiple municipalities. The governing board of this authority, composed of representatives from each participating municipality, and decisions regarding budget, allocations, infrastructure investments, and policy changes are made collectively by this board. It ensures that all member municipalities have a voice in decision-making, and it promotes a fair distribution of resources and aligns regional strategies with local needs. Management. Let's see. Next is ownership transfer. Ownership transfer in the context of regionalization refers to the process of shifting the ownership and management responsibilities of the utility system, such as the water and wastewater services, from one entity to another, typically to a regional authority or another managing organization. This can involve the complete or partial transfer of assets, infrastructure, and operational control. You could have a full ownership transfer, which involves transferring complete ownership and operational control of a utility system from a local government or private entity to a regional authority or another managing entity. This includes all assets, liabilities, and management responsibilities. An example would be a small municipal water system might transfer its entire infrastructure and operations to a regional water authority. Partial ownership transfer involves transferring specific assets or functions rather than the entire system. For example, a utility might transfer control of its treatment plant while retaining control of its distribution network. An example is a local water treatment facility might be transferred to a regional authority while the local government retains control of the collection system. Management transfer. Instead of transferring ownership, a utility may transfer the management and operational responsibilities to another entity. The original owner retains ownership of the infrastructure but delegates day-to-day operations to the new manager. An example of this would be a local government that might want to contract a private company or regional authority to manage its water treatment operations while keeping ownership of the facility. Benefits of ownership transfer: enhanced efficiency, improved service quality, access to funding, consistency and standardization, risk management and resilience, and sustainable development. Enhanced efficiency. A regional authority can consolidate resources and streamline operations, leading to more efficient management of water and wastewater systems. It achieves economies of scale, reduces redundancy, and improves operational efficiency. Improve service quality. A regional authority with specialized expertise can invest in advanced technologies and infrastructure upgrades that smaller individual utilities may not afford. It provides higher quality services and more reliable infrastructure. Access to funding and resources. Regional authorities often have better access to state and federal funding for infrastructure projects and system improvements. It supports larger scale investments and upgrades that benefit the entire region. Consistency and standardization is another benefit. Transferring ownership to a regional authority allows for standardized practices and regulations across multiple systems. It ensures consistent service levels and regulatory compliance. So, risk management and resilience. A regional authority can manage risks more effectively by spreading them across a broader geographic area. It also enhances the system resilience and ability to handle disruptions and emergencies. Sustainable development. Regional authorities can implement long-term plans for infrastructure development and environmental protection. It promotes sustainable practices and supports regional growth. Now, some things to consider for ownership transfer: stakeholder engagement. Ensure that all relevant stakeholders, including local communities and utility staff, are involved in the planning and decision-making process to facilitate a smooth transition. Legal and financial aspects. Make sure you address the legal and financial implications of transfer, including asset valuation, liability management, and contract terms. Also, take into account transition planning. Develop a comprehensive transition plan that includes timelines, responsibilities, and communication strategies to manage the change effectively. So in summary, ownership transfer and regionalization is a strategic approach to managing utility systems and can lead to increased efficiency, improved service quality, and better resource management. By transferring ownership or management responsibilities to a regional entity, utilities can leverage collective resources and expertise to enhance their operations and meet regional needs more effectively. An example of this is the Philadelphia Water Department and regional partnerships. The Philadelphia Water Department has engaged in regional partnerships where ownership of certain wastewater treatment facilities and infrastructure has been transferred to or managed jointly with surrounding municipalities and regional authorities. This approach aims to improve service delivery and efficiency in a broader region. A benefit of this is it consolidates resources and expertise, leading to enhanced infrastructure management and regulatory compliance. Ownership transfer and regionalization can lead to significant improvements in operational efficiency, service quality, and regional coordination. By consolidating assets and responsibilities, regional entities can achieve economies of scale, streamline operations, and better serve their communities. So often, many systems practices already align with regionalization, and they don't even realize it. The informal examples we discussed earlier are indeed forms of regionalization. These informal agreements and relationships serve as a foundation for expanding capacity and enhancing collaboration among utilities. Typically, these informal collaborations can evolve into a more formal structures of regionalization, and the relationships built through these informal interactions can be especially valuable in emergency situations, where established networks and trust play a critical role in effectively managing crises. In essence, what starts as an informal cooperation can lead to a more structured and impactful regional approach, leading to improved coordination and resilience across the systems. So I talked earlier about PA WARN, so I'd like to introduce you all to PA WARN. It's a vital component of our statewide approach to managing emergencies in the water and wastewater sectors. PA WARN stands for the Pennsylvania Water Wastewater Agency Response Network. It's a statewide network designed to enhance the preparedness and response capabilities of water and wastewater utilities across Pennsylvania. PA WARN facilitates a coordinated response to both natural and human-caused emergencies. So how does PA WARN work? For preparation and coordination, PA WARN helps utilities prepare for potential emergencies by providing guidance and support based on established requirements and best practices. Also through resource sharing. Through PA WARN, utilities can share personnel, equipment, and other resources on a statewide basis. This collaborative approach ensures that assistance can be quickly mobilized when it's needed most. Agreements. The network operates under mutual aid agreements, enabling utilities to provide and receive support in times of crisis, enhancing overall resilience and response effectiveness. Some benefits of PA WARN. Enhanced readiness for emergencies with access to a network of support and resources. Coordinated response. The network ensures a structured and efficient response to emergencies, minimizing disruptions and improving recovery efforts. Resource efficiency. Sharing resources and expertise across the state helps utilities manage challenges more effectively and reduces the burden on individual entities. In summary, PA WARN represents a robust and collaborative approach to emergency management in the water and wastewater sectors, and it strengthens our ability to respond to and recover from a wide range of incidents. So if you're not currently a member of PA WARN and you would like to join this vital network, we encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to enhance your utilities preparedness and response capabilities. To join PA WARN or learn more, visit their website here, pawarn.org. By being part of PA WARN connects you with a statewide network of utilities, providing access to essential resources and collaborative support during emergencies. We highly recommend considering membership to bolster your utilities' resilience and response readiness. Now I'm going to turn the presentation over to Seth, who will be discussing how GIS can benefit small utilities in regionalization. The floor is yours, Seth.
Thanks, Amy. Just give me 1 second to get myself set up. And yeah, we may have some folks from other states as well that aren't in Pennsylvania and want to join PA WARN, but yeah, we'd encourage you to check out the WARN system in your state. I'm not sure how active every other state is, but I know in Pennsylvania, it's a pretty dynamic network. I'm on their email list, so they always let systems know of upcoming weather events. If there's ever the call out there for emergency equipment or staffing or whatever, that those calls seem to be answered really quickly. And from everything I've seen in attending meetings, it's a great group to be part of. I know there's some costs involved, but I would think that it's worth that investment. And I hope other states' warrant systems are operating just as good as Pennsylvania's. Um, Next, we're going to talk about regional collaboration and GIS. And just for some background with the funding program that we're putting this training on, the USDA RCDI program, we had mapping projects in 20 communities. Also, in our proposal was to put together a regional collaboration training. So we're doing our best here to try to tie these two things together. But GIS, it can offer numerous benefits to small communities engaging in regional collaboration. GIS itself can promote effective collaboration among small communities by providing tools for data sharing, analysis, and decision making. The spatial perspective offered by GIS enhances the understanding of regional dynamics and supports coordinated efforts for sustainable development. And we're going to dive into the benefits of GIS. The small communities could take advantage of if they're considering regional collaboration, and we'll show how GIS technology can enhance overall planning, coordination, and effectiveness of these partnerships. Now, the one area that we really like to focus on in any of our projects when we're doing our traditional work of the water, wastewater infrastructure mapping is the data sharing aspect of it and integration. So when we complete a project, we have all the assets on a map in a database. We have these online in maps. Once we're done, it's the community owns this data, but we're happy to be that middleman that can help share that data with other resources, or entities, whether that's your engineer, a town, government, the county government, to the state, anyone that can benefit from this data, and vice versa. We also see what data is available publicly from the county or from the state that can be incorporated into these community maps. Things like parcel boundaries, soils, really good imagery, just a way to combine your resources and integrate it all. I think the big point of GIS is to make it a one-stop shop for a lot of different resources, and it can all be compiled into one different place and then used for a number of different areas to help better manage your water or wastewater system. So improved decision making. It's tough to make a big, it's tough to make decisions wisely if you don't have all the information. So GIS, again, just being that one-stop shop to provide this data to the decision makers to help them, to most inform them on whatever decision needs to be made, whether that is the regionalization, whether it's feasible to make an interconnection between two different systems, or even seeing who your neighbors are and seeing if you'd have any similar interests or problems that kind of network can help improve your system. GIS is all about being able to get those tools to the decision makers and giving them into a format and a method that makes the most sense for your system. And then resource optimization. Small communities use GIS to identify underutilized resources. Just having the visual aid, having it all on maps or dashboards, or be able to get data through surveys. They can help with everything. I mean, it goes beyond obviously water and wastewater, but if you're looking at infrastructure planning, transportation networks, we're going to have a slide about environmental management. And then the other note on here is just about how it can be a time saver for a lot of different operations, but particularly for one calls, when systems can utilize GIS on their phones to help locate their assets instead of spending a lot of time, maybe going back into the office and finding old tap cards or tie cards, looking at old maps using metal detector and looking for unburied assets. Just having that GIS in a lot of ways can make your processes a lot more efficient. So environmental management, kind of backing away a little bit from our normal operations here. But this is tracking changes in land uses, managing watersheds, addressing environmental challenges. Um, GIS can help with environmental impacts of potential or upcoming projects. And again, it just goes back to that decision-making process and making sure the community is informed. I'm kind of hitting on this, throughout the presentation, but just infrastructure planning in general, just being able to view that spatial relationship between, I don't know, potentially two different communities or the community as a whole, being able to see all that information in GIS with their multiple layers and multiple resources all at once, rather than just trying to picture it in your head or trying to figure this out without something like GIS could be a major challenge. And a lot of this stuff may be done at a different level than the community itself. It might be done by your engineer, more at a county level, but certainly GIS can support infrastructure planning. We also have community engagement. There's a lot of new tools. We use the Esri software, but a lot of new tools to help get the community involved. We're working on a training now that focuses on community engagement. So things like getting the customers involved where, they could potentially fill out a survey or a form for, and a lot of bigger systems are already doing this, but making these tools, giving the tools for smaller communities, things like customer complaints, if there's water, wastewater quality issues, if they, need some kind of work order, something addressed at their home, um, anything like that. We can put tools out there for the public to keep them involved, which I think is really important. It's these tools where we can have these surveys and forms advertised on a website, um, put on your Facebook page, put on a bill with a QR code. It just gives you know the community members and the ratepayers. I think it makes them feel more involved with your system. It gives them a better understanding of what's happening in your system and why things are being done. But just that the community engagement aspect of GIS is now a lot more feasible and doable at the smaller size communities, and it's not just for the bigger communities anymore. And I think a lot of people's favorite is just the cost savings that can happen with GIS. We were recently working with a community, and they were mentioning that one of their neighboring communities, two of the systems, not really related, but they shared a GIS person or a department somehow. Got to look into that one more. But things with GIS licenses, maybe it would make sense for two communities to maybe team up and save on some licensing costs that way. Or maybe in these other cases, a couple communities could team up and have, I don't know, pay a part-time GIS person to manage that program. We've seen a lot of systems, they'll share equipment. So things like a high-end GPS receiver might not be something you need every day, and it's something you might be able to partner on with a couple of communities to save some cost that way. And I think along with that cost, just the time that this can save too, through collaborating with whatever entity it is. Maybe you're just kind of partnering with the county. The county, a lot of counties have pretty dynamic GIS departments where you could share that data, and maybe they'll find a way that they can host it for you, and then you'll have access through that data through the county or another entity like that, or even through your engineer. So next, we're going to talk about a couple of case studies of some RCAP projects. There are some other ones throughout. These are mostly focused on Pennsylvania. We're going to go through the four different levels of regionalization. The first one is informal cooperation. I've worked with these systems in Snyder County, Pennsylvania, and I really like the informal cooperation aspect of it. I think a lot of people are scared of the R word of regionalization, and they're already, like Amy mentioned, a lot of systems are already doing this stuff, and they might not even realize it or even see the benefits of it. But in Snyder County, there's three systems: Beavertown Borough, McClure Borough, and Adams Township. Two of them have one operator, the other has two operators. So pretty small systems. Um, the operators that have all been there 20 years plus. They've had long-term relationships with each other. But what happens is these three systems, they meet up informally. They call it a briefing every Thursday to drop off samples of one systems. I think a lot of times maybe for the hour or so they meet, maybe they're shooting the breeze, you know, which I think is fine. I think that that's part of the networking and building relationships. But they're also sharing knowledge. They'll offer assistance to each other. Um, they all have keys to each other's supply buildings for spare parts. I just think they take that team approach for things, and I think really encourage this to systems that you know may be interested in regionalization but don't know where to start. I think just getting to know your neighbors or joining some kind of group or association that might meet quarterly is a great way to expand your professional network and get started with some kind of informal cooperation. Maybe you don't know your neighbors, but maybe you could, I don't know, try to have coffee with them once a month or reach out once in a while and discuss what's going on with your system. But I think this is a pretty powerful tool, even though to these guys maybe it's just they enjoy it for the social aspects. But I think there's a lot of benefits to even meeting something like this once a week. Next level up, we got a couple systems in Schuylkill County. They took it to the next step for contractual assistance. Um, so right now there's two townships that they have separate water systems. The one is a lot more disadvantaged than the other one. That's Mountain Water Authority, quite a bit disadvantaged, and it sits right over across the mountain from Higgins Hubley Water Authority, which has two operators and an administration person, but has quite a bit more capacity and experience and knowledge. So about 20 years ago, Mountain Water, they were facing some compliance issues, had some failing infrastructure, aging treatment facilities, and they reached out across the mountain to Higgins Hubley for some help. And I think it first started just as a kind of a volunteer project. They said we can help you out with leak detection, give you some options for treatment upgrades, and help you out with your compliance issues and monitoring and reporting. So I think it happened pretty informally for several years. They just found the time to help out a neighbor, but it led to contractual assistance. Now I believe Higgins Hubley has the certified operator for that system, and it's not really a lucrative endeavor for Higgins Hubley. I think they're doing it because they are good neighbors. They see the need. But RCAP spent some time with them, and they're continuing to try to build that relationship. They might even try to take it the next step and try to join the two entities together. There's been some challenges trying to get an interconnect in because again it is over a ridge or a mountain to try to connect the two systems, but they're exploring all the options. And in this case, it would certainly benefit Mountain Water. Um, you know, I'm sure Higgins would get a couple more customers, but I don't think it's anything huge on their end. But just I think that goodwill and being a good neighbor can go a long way, and I think a lot of systems um, that can help them with as well. And sometimes that might be more challenging. And we've talked about a lot of other contractual assistance types, but I really like this one just because this was something that happened 20 years ago, and that relationship has started to build from the informal work to more contractual now, and it seems like it could benefit at least Mountain Water to move things forward a little more. Some systems might not need to be in the water business, and are often looking for a way out or some help. So definitely how regionalization can come into play. And yeah, I really like this example as well, and another system that RCAP had worked with. And we'll pass it over to John to talk about a joint power agency.
All right, thank you. All right. First case study we're going to do is the Lycoming County Water Sewer Authority. Back in 1989, a group of county commissioners, they kind of foresaw the future. They saw a bunch of challenged communities, increasing regulation, and lack of proper asset management with no real long-term plan. This group of commissioners, they created the Lycoming County Water Sewer Authority, and it's an independent authority, and it serves partners throughout the county. The authority's first project was to create a regional wastewater treatment plant. So over the years, the authority continued to grow, began to serve more communities throughout the county with water and wastewater. And right now, they operate 10 water and sewer systems between 12 municipalities and around 8,500 customers. And the services they provide can be anywhere from fully owned and operated systems to maintenance, leak detection, or it could be as simple as helping out with billing and administration. And then most recently in 2020, the Lycoming County Water and Sewer, they did a intergovernmental cooperation agreement between South Williamsport, Du Bois Town, and the authority to create a regional stormwater management program. And that's to ultimately share the cost associated with the program and to achieve compliance with the new MS4 regulations. So that's pretty cool how it's really branching over to the stormwater now, which everyone's starting to feel the pain with that. As far as their success goes, they they said that a couple of big things. They had to listen to the issues the communities had. They needed to educate, plan, and they most of all needed to be realistic with everything. But they needed to maintain a commitment to the communities and be persistent and but be willing to change. And one thing I think I mentioned earlier, when you talk about regionalization, a lot of times the word takeover gets thrown in. That's kind of an ugly phrase for this because it's not a takeover. It really is a partnership and some cooperation. But the champion for this program was really the executive director of this authority, and they continue to reach out and create opportunities and look for solutions to help out this county. So nice example. The next slide is the Lancaster Area Sewer Authority. That's Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And this is a municipal ownership acquisition. So this authority was formed back in 1972 and originally served 6 municipalities in Lancaster County. Over the years, they had some really good growth opportunities presented to them to help out with some neighboring communities. So for over the last 23 years now, they've grown their customer base from 17,300 up to 41,500 customers. And the collection system grew from originally 230 miles of pipe to up to 780 miles of pipe now. And revenues for the authority have increased from $11 million to over $34 million a year. LASA, they serve 9 municipalities in the western part of Lancaster County. And a lot of this growth was just from stuff that made sense, neighboring systems that could connect to the existing system and kind of more organic growth. The big thing Lancaster Area Sewer Authority has benefited from is the economies of scale. And they've been able to lower the cost per customer, and that can moderate the rate increases over time also. So as they've added more customers to the system, the actual operation costs has gone down, and also the actual rates have gone down also. Pretty cool story. In addition to the operating cost per customer, utilizing existing assets and to serve more customers and sharing administrative and functions and personnel. The system includes 2 treatment plants. One of them was the original plant, and then the second one was with the West Earl acquisition back in 2000, I believe it was 17. But right now they're treating close to 50 million gallons of wastewater a day between the 2 plants, I believe. And they maintain that mission to provide quality service at a reasonable cost and enhance the health environment, well-being of the community. So pretty nice regionalization of that and everything that made sense. And then my last example on the next slide is an ownership transfer. So this was Mifflin County up in Columbia County. They're a small water system operated by the local authority, and they had a lot of struggles. They had a lot of failing infrastructure and a lot of leaks and breakdowns, and their unaccounted water was reaching upwards of 80%. Customers experienced routine outages due to the leaks and repairs, and they only had one well, and that well was pumping nearly 24 hours a day just to keep up with all the demand. The authority was in a poor position financially where they couldn't replace anything or fix anything, and they were also under a consent order with the DEP to get their system put back together and repair these leaks. There were no real public options around them, to kind of collaborate with to help out. But they did have two neighboring private water systems that reached out to them about their interest to acquire the system. And at this point, the authority really didn't have much of a choice other than to sell the system. They really had themselves painted into a corner. So they chose to sell to Aqua Pennsylvania. After the private water company acquired them, they invested heavily in infrastructure upgrades, and most of the community's water mains were replaced, a lot of hydrants were replaced, and they began to immediately experience less frequent outages, better pressure, and better customer service. The unaccounted water went from 85 all the way down to 25%. So that's a huge, huge increase there, or benefit. And the private company retained the operator of the system and transferred him into the company. So no jobs were lost with the transfer of ownership either. The primary driver for this partnership was the historical, just kind of legacy failings of their water system. And like I said, they just really painted themselves into a corner. The authority chairman, at first, he did not want to sell a system. Like most authorities or small communities, they take pride in it and they don't want to sell it. They think that they can fix it. But at the end of the day, after some engineering studies were done, they realized they were out of luck. They was going to cost too much to fix and repair everything, and the selling to a private company was their really only option. And that's the good example of this case is looking at the cost and the benefit of ownership. And while the local authority lost control of the system, the customers are the real benefits here just because they have a reliable, safe drinking water system now. So, and then something I wanted to mention earlier, maybe with the first or second slide under players, was public works. Out this way in southeast Pennsylvania, some of the public works systems for the communities, they actually have some collaboration between each other with a co-op where they share equipment and help each other out with different tasks. And they even go as far as where they can bid projects as the multiple municipalities for road projects or salt buys or stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be water and wastewater. It can also be other things also. So that's that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. I know it's 2 o'clock now. We still have some more slides to go. So if anyone has to go, we understand them. We'll get these slides out to you then. We have a few more we're gonna get through. But thanks for sticking on if you're able to stay a little bit longer. Next slide here is just an interactive map link, and we'll get this out to you. We'll skip through it, but this is just some case studies from the EPA, like some projects that they worked on across the country with a map, and then I think so, like some basic case studies and lessons learned from a handful of projects here. Before we get into the rest of the resources, we just had a couple suggestions about where do you start if you might be interested in this. Maybe it's easier to get started with some of the informal relationships and collaboration. But I think a good way to do it is through a SWOT analysis. So that's your strengths, looking at the areas that you're good at, that you excel at, your weaknesses, and then opportunities and threats. And we have this link here. We've shared it with the group of RCDI partners that we have, our 20 communities that we did the mapping with. But it's really a chance to, I think, be honest with yourself and see where you're at. It looks something like this. Again, we set this up for our communities, but this link is open for anyone. But it's a way to, and it's interesting to see this at the different levels at an organization, whether it's a board member, a manager, an operator, or even an administrator, to see what are your system strengths, what are you good at, where could you potentially help someone else at. Whether that's you have a good water quality source, you got a lot of water, you got good workers, good finances, good infrastructure, and so on. It's just good to get that analysis of yourself, and then to be honest with you or with yourself and see what your weaknesses are. See where a potential partner could help fill some of these gaps. And these are essentially the opposites of the strengths that we listed above there. We want to look at opportunities, whether that you have a room to expand the system, you have a good solid board that supports the system, you have your really good operators, um, or some other things. You can look at opportunities you have to either improve your own system, room for growth, or potentially lend that experience and those strengths to someone else. And then similarly, what are threats you could have? Maybe you don't have such a good board, or you have inexperienced operators, um, no real long-term plans or visions for the future. So just being honest with yourself, doing this assessment can be useful to identify what your challenges are and what your needs would be moving forward, and try to determine whether regional collaboration is something you need to consider. Yeah. So again, here's a list of some of those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Um, and I think good every once in a while just to have people at your system fill it out. Again, it's interesting to see the different dynamics or the different results of people at different levels in your system to see where you're at. I mean, it's probably not surprising that the system operator may have a different opinion than a board member in some of these areas. So we always find that kind of analyzing to compare the results then once they're finished. Another one, this was taken from a USDA training where we have a full day training on this, but it's in regards to 10 key management areas. We have another survey here. Let me pull it up. But it's another self-assessment. It can be done at different levels, but it's 10 questions, but there's two parts to all of them. So you're going to rate yourself from low achievement to high achievement, how good you are at these areas, and then you rank them as priorities. Is it something that's a low priority for you or a higher priority for you? So things like water resource adequacy, product quality, customer satisfaction, community sustainability and economic development, employee and leadership development, all these different areas to kind of to rate yourself to see where you're at. And again, these are really interesting to compare between different staff at the utility. Yeah, we often find that, yeah, again, the operator or board member, if we can get everyone sitting together and doing these surveys and a training, that the results aren't always going to match up. And that it's good to, I think it's really good even for board members that may not have a lot of experience to see these 10 different areas and see areas where they need to improve their management skills. And again, see what the operators are thinking of the operations and see how you can kind of blend these things together to help improve in these areas and maybe set the priorities as they need to be. So I think these two cool tools really important to getting started, understanding where you're um, at your organization, seeing where you could use some assistance, and then trying to find the right path to help fill in any of those gaps or areas that you're lagging. So next, we compiled a whole bunch of different regional collaboration resources that we found, and then we have a GIS hub that we'll share a link to that is storing most of them in there. If you look in the attachments tab on GoToTraining, I do have three different materials there. I think we have a one pager that lists a whole bunch of the materials. Um, this document that I'm going to talk about next, which is a paper that RCAP wrote about 4 years ago, where the research team at RCAP traveled throughout the country and met with, I think, dozens of communities and met with their leaders and staff that had gone through some sort of regionalization efforts, whether that was informal to take overs, and then a lot of interviews, a lot of research, and then they compiled the 10 lessons learned from that. So that's one of the materials we included as well. But it's maybe a bit lengthy. I mean, I think it's several dozen pages, but a really good resource. I think if you're just getting started out with this, you can kind of see what other people went through, see what their lessons learned were, and then take advantage of their experience for yourself. Next, I guess kind of a plug for RCAP, the RCAP network. We put out a Rural Matters magazine. It's digital now. It's available on the rcap.org website. But about once a year or so, they have a regionalization focused magazine where that's where the articles and case studies and information comes from. And these are those links. We do have some of these articles are from some of our former TAPs that worked in regionalization. So again, just some more case studies and information if you're trying to soak up all the knowledge you can on this topic. And then we found some resources from the University of North Carolina. They have a couple of regionalization and consolidation publications. Um, I guess these are generally about crafting interlocal agreements. A couple guides there, options and considerations. There's a decent amount of information from the EPA on the topic. We have some links there about partnerships and handbooks, funding strategies. And then lastly here, we have our RCDI GIS and regionalization hub. So all our GIS trainings that we've been putting on quarterly, those recordings are available here. But we also have a regionalization roadmap that has the links to those surveys. We have links to an RCAP regionalization resilience online e-learning modules, that paper, and then a one-page list of all the different resources. But then from here we have, again, we'll just put another plug in for our GIS trainings. We have all those recordings available here on this hub as well. And even our RCDI grant ends at the end of September, but we'll keep this link live and we'll continue to update this with GIS trainings or more regionalization resources. And I think the last thing I wanted to show you interactively, I just saw this last Friday. I'm not an expert on it, but it's pretty cool. It's from the EPA. I think it's brand new, but it's a community water system service area boundaries. So it's a web map here, and it's going to default us to Minnesota. But you can zoom into like your state or wherever you're at, so Pennsylvania. You can see the service areas for drinking water systems. And you can click on them. They have a pop-up with the name of it. So here's Schuylkill Municipal Authority, and then some pretty cool information or pretty good information about them, all the population, service connections, whatever else they have there. There's some built-in filters. Um, maybe if you're let's see, if you want to see, filter down for systems of your size, whether, I don't know, you're less than 500 or you want to see systems around you that are 501 to 3,300 connections, you can see that. I thought it was pretty neat here, a service area type. I don't know if you're a daycare and you want to see other local daycares that are their own system, you can do that. Mobile home parks, municipalities, schools, whatever's most important to you. If you're trying to network, make some new connections, I guess even see if there's anyone around you to consider regionalization. I think this website's pretty neat for that.
Is that, Seth, is that just places that have a PWSI number, or what is it?
Yeah, I think it gives more information here, and I really didn't get a chance to look at this too closely, but I think that is correct. Yeah. Yeah, so there's, bigger ones, smaller ones, but yeah, I think that is right, Jamie. But yeah, again, I didn't get a chance to like thoroughly go through this, but I shared it with some people and I think it's a pretty neat tool here.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty handy.
Yeah, here's the one example. There's the Higgins Hubley. They got the long stretch in the valley there, and then there's Mountain Water Authority, straight across the mountain there. I mean, I think this could be used for a lot of purposes, but definitely when you're considering something like regionalization. But yeah, there's our one example. If I can quickly find our other one. There's Beavertown Municipal Authority. Oh, Spring Township. I said their own name. Spring Township, and then McClure Municipal Authority. There, right there. That's the three that meet for their weekly briefings. It's kind of at least interesting to see this kind of data. And I can see if I can throw that into the chat here too. Just struggling. That's it. Yeah, we'd encourage everyone to look for opportunities and collaboration. If anyone wants to stay on and talk about how anything you're doing, we can stick around. Yeah, a good suggestion for that first step is that self-assessment through either like the SWOT analysis or looking at the 10 key management areas and see how you rate yourself. Then I think overall, just the purpose is to build that capacity build system capacity through collaboration. That's all we got. We're happy to stick around if anyone has any comments or feedback or questions or want to talk about anything cool that they're doing at their system. But thanks again for attending. Sorry for keeping you a little bit late, and hope you have a great day.
Do you guys see it down your way in Pennsylvania too, with the more of the up here? It seems to be the for profits combining with